Look at that grin.
You told me to smile.
It's a scary smile. It's almost like that. It's that really scary smile.
That Sheldon puts on.
The
Sheldon Big Bang.
Yes, and Howard calls it terrifying. Yeah, it is terrifying. Welcome, everyone. It's PTV3D time. How are you doing? We're doing pretty good here.
We got our mop tops chopped.
Yeah, we decided to go ahead and cut hair, so it really needed it.
Hot.
Two real geeks. Hello there.
And Cynthia, Mom.
I see Cherie. Thank you for being here. And Mike Wheeler, of course. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Fuzz. And the big Disney fan, Keith. Thank you for being here. Hey, Rob Fuzz. Wow, two of our support tree.
Oh.
We have our support tree, Rob Fuzz. We have two real geeks. More sunshine, please.
So these are our
D&G Explorers and also the Orlando guy.
These are our appendages.
Those represent our support tree.
So,
hello, everyone. Samantha, thank you for being here.
Israel.
And Cynthia. Cynthia has been chatting with us today.
Yeah.
Cynthia let's just say she was inspired by last night's show.
Well, I couldn't sleep. I have a confession to spill over from last night. It terrified me at how much we picked. So we sat back and we made even more gold stars of things we just have to have. And we have to pull some of them out because, I knew it was bad, but when I heard $1,000, I said, there's just no way. I mean, I can only eat so many pork and beans and rice.
Hey, Charlie.
So we are gleaming and being realistic. There's some that my world will end if I don't get.
We do have to glean.
So, but.
Oh, yeah, Cynthia, she did go. Yeah, you know what? We do need a support group.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yes, this is our bailiwick. We love this stuff.
It is what we do.
It's what we do. This is what we spend our money on.
But look, at least Cynthia's saying at least the items were 50% off. We ran across stuff like that too. We have a nice new jigsaw puzzle that was 50% off the last time we went to Hallmark. So
I just sometimes always have to ask them so I don't believe them because I'm like, are they really 50% off?
It's very true.
It's 50% off because Hallmark never really goes on sale. So, but yeah, we behaved and we had to go back in and say, you know what, we had to have a moment with each one of these ornaments because so that I have to confess after last night, I got heart palpitations and I got severe anxiety and freaked out and my wallet ran away and hid so I couldn't find it. So
oh my goodness, Cherie has spent money on ornaments today. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh God,
yeah. That's
oh my God, it's gorgeous.
Guilty. Definitely. You can blame us for that one, that's for sure. Hi, Donna.
I say only the Haunted Mansion and Halloween's Call. The Haunted Mansion one is we didn't discuss that one. That I have to have.
Richard says Amex says yes.
We don't have an Amex. That's Richard. We're not that. Our finances are not. Doesn't bode well for us to own an Amex.
Oh my goodness, no! If I had an Amex, I'd really be in trouble.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I would use it for too much retail.
Let's just say if I were to do that, my bank would say, "Where's our mortgage payment?" So yeah. I'd have just too much fun.
So I'm glad everybody loved last night's stream.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we think and we talk. And you saw all
Stacy.
What, Discover card?
Yeah, Stacy.
We're just MasterCard and Visa kind of people.
Yeah.
And we don't really have many of them.
No, we
don't really have
we keep it simple.
We're very simple people.
We keep it simple. It's June 23rd, 2020. Man, the month is almost done. And PTV3D is almost done too.
Thank you, Dan.
Hey, Keystone.
Everybody liked the stream last night. You got to hear our process, how we talk to each other. That's, what we're feeling, what we're doing. This is actual normal behavior, what we were on. It was a little too much reality. But you guys got to see all of our true colors.
Like Richard says, we don't take Discover.
We don't take Discover. When I was a wee young chap, I did have a Discover card, but that went away decades ago.
Yeah, I think it's going to go the same way that Sears is possibly going to go too.
Yeah, hey.
Anyway.
So that's the world about credit cards.
But we did have fun last night. So if you didn't check it out, please do so. It was a lot of fun. We did our wish list from Hallmark for Christmas in July.
And we were spending money like a drunken sailor, so we had to.
Oh, look at that. Mar in Memphis says, I drove over to the closest Hallmark store today to pick up a dream book. The manager said they were spreading the premium out over days and making appointments for turning in our wish list.
We got this.
We got the same thing.
We can make a private appointment to go in and actually look at them also. Yeah, Hallmark is not our Hallmark. What our gal said, they're only allowing 3 people to look at the wall at one time. And they're going to only have like about 24 people in the store, and everybody's social distance, and they all have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So Hallmark ornament where you before everybody's dogpiling, they're not going to do that.
Cherie bought the train ornaments. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, good for you. That's $80.
Danny says PTV is taking super chats for support of the Christmas edition.
I don't know if it's for the
No.
ornaments or for the, you know.
Oh, Enchanted Rita. Hello there, people. Enchanted Rita's in the house. If you have not subscribed to Enchanted Rita, please do so. She is one of our local people in Southern California. It's definitely, we're going to be talking about the Tiki Room today. So yes, let's get to that.
Tiki Room show?
She said she saw that. She saw Tiki Room and clicked so fast.
Cynthia.
Yes, the Tiki Room. Let's go ahead and get started with the history. Cynthia, and thank you for that support group edition. $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Let's get a couple things here first. It is June 23rd, 185 days until Christmas. It's National Pecan Sandies Day as well as National Hydration Day.
I love pecan sandies.
I do too. Walt Disney in 1938 on this day. Yesterday in 1938, he received a degree from Yale. Today he received one from Harvard. An honorary Masters of Arts degree from Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
So very good for Walt. 1956 on this day. This was a big deal. Another new attraction opened at Disneyland. The Skyway. Disneyland's Skyway to Fantasyland and Skyway to Tomorrowland. Each a single one-way trip.
Okay.
You would take off from Fantasyland just behind Casey Jr. Circus Train, and you'd go to the far end of Tomorrowland, which ended up, in the 60s, it was behind the Carousel of Progress, kind of nestled between the Carousel of Progress and the Utopia. So that's where the station was. And then, of course, once the Matterhorn opened in 1959, the Skyway passed right through the Matterhorn. That was fantastic. I loved that.
I went on it once.
Danny's got to get back to work. Thanks, Danny.
Yeah, the whole thing of making real money, it's kind of it's an important thing.
Now, let's go ahead and get to the thing that's here, the main focus.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, the main focus of today's chat. I've got a lot of information here about this because at Disneyland on this day in 1963, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room opened. It was the first attraction to feature Audio-Animatronics. Those were developed by WED Enterprises, and you'll notice that it has Walt's name in it. Why is it that it's Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room? That's because Walt paid for it out of his own pocket. His brother said, you know what? I think it's a great idea. Oh, hi, Art Johns. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
Walt Disney wanted this attraction so bad. He wanted the animatronics developed, everything. But Roy held the purse strings for the park, his brother. And Roy said, no. If you want that attraction, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. So he put together a whole group of Imagineers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they had WED Enterprises for, that developed everything. And he went ahead and said, okay, I'll use my own money. We're going to develop this. We're going to put this all together. Turned out great. The show was a hit. It was originally supposed to be a restaurant that featured birds serenading overhead. In fact, the magic fountain in the center of the room. Now, for those of you in Florida, I'm talking about the version at Disneyland specifically because it opened on this day. The Tropical Serenade opened, of course, on October 1st, 1971. But we're talking about Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room.
Disneyland.
Yeah, at Disneyland. The magic fountain in the center of the room, the one that has all the pineapples around and the water goes up and everything. that was originally supposed to be a coffee station for a restaurant that was going to be in the attraction. It just didn't work out. It would have made a wonderful restaurant, but it just wasn't feasible. The room wasn't big enough, and they wanted to get people in and out of that show, and people would linger. As it is, when the attraction first opened, they had a barker bird that would call people into the attraction saying, hey, come see here. His name was Juan. Yeah, Juan the barker bird. He was the cousin of Jose inside the Tiki room. And Juan would sit out front, and people would actually congregate around the front of the entrance of the Enchanted Tiki room. And unfortunately, that area is already small enough.
It caused a massive traffic jam because it's something that we've never seen. So they would stop and see this bird, lifelike bird, start talking.
Yeah.
Freaked people out. Loved it because this is 1963.
Yeah.
It's the novelty of audio-animatronics. This was all new, so it caused a massive traffic jam.
Yeah, so they eventually had to take him out. Now that restaurant that they were going to have, they eventually also had the Tahitian Terrace right next door to the Tiki room. That was one of my favorite places to eat dinner. I loved the Tahitian Terrace. It was fantastic. Now it's called the Tropical Hideaway. Finally, they've done something with that space where you can actually eat something. It's wonderful. It's great. It was going to be the kitchen that was there is going to be shared by the Tiki room as well as the Tahitian Terrace, and also Plaza Pavilion, which is now the Jolly Holiday Bakery. It's one building. It's just they've got different facades, so that kind of puts tricks on the eyes. But that's how Disneyland works, having so many things so close together and having so many attractions and restaurants and things.
Yeah, you don't know that. There's one building that actually has two attractions and they're separating. You wouldn't even know that.
When the Tiki room opened, it was run by computers. And those computers ran so hot that they had to make sure the building stayed cooled. It was the first building at Disneyland officially with full-on air conditioning. So they kept the computers cool. Now, the computers were not in back. They were not on the side. They were actually in the basement of the building. These computers were wall-to-wall, tall things.
Oh, huge. The whole thing is huge.
They use the magnetic tape the whole bit. Kind of an IBM nightmare. But Doug and I did not a private tour. We did a tour, kind of like a walk in Walt's footsteps. And
they did talk about, and they showed us the original Olivia,
she was
orchid.
She was
the
one of
orchids, and we got to see it, and it was amazing. And they talked about how underneath the whole area is like a downstairs. It used to be chock full, lines and lines of these computers and wires and all this hydraulics and all that. Now it's all run on a laptop.
Yeah, the laptop apparently just sits on the table downstairs.
Actually, it's off to the side upstairs, and it's all run on a computer, a little laptop.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing that it can be done with just a laptop now.
Yeah, so cool.
The four macaws. There is Jose. Now, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but Jose has red, white, and green plumage. That represents Mexico, the Mexican flag. Each of the birds has a different nationality, and the feathers of the birds represent the country that they're from. In this case, Jose from Mexico. Michael is white and green, speaks with an Irish brogue, and he was voiced by Fulton Burley, who was one of the performers of the Golden Horseshoe Revue. Jose was by Wally Bogue. He was also with the Golden Horseshoe Revue. Pierre, his plumage is blue, white, and red for the French flag. So he's French. Hello, Jim. Hello, Jim. Season's greetings.
Joyous Noel.
And then finally, Fritz. He's red, black, and actually white feathers with a German accent. He was voiced by Thurl Ravenscroft.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, those are different birds from different countries.
Yeah, and if you look closely, you'll see feathers really do cover the birds, but on the front, it's not feathers. It's made to look like feathers, but it's actually cashmere. This is something that was designed by, who was it? I have this in my notes here. It happened by accident. One of the designers, her name is Harriet Burns, noticed
Huge
during one
designer.
Yeah, she noticed during one of the planning meetings for Walt that he was wearing a cashmere sweater, and she saw his elbow would bend perfectly, and it would pucker almost like his elbow was breathing, and it was just the right effect that the Imagineers were looking for to make it look like the birds were breathing. So their chests are cashmere. It's a perfectly knitted cashmere for their chests.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. I love the Tiki Room. That, I mean, is one of those things I think is the all-time. It's just so wonderful.
Yeah, one thing about the Tiki Room, it had fallen into somewhat disrepair at Disneyland during the 90s. I remember seeing it, even the end of the attraction itself, when the music would play, they would cut off part of the end of the music. It was bad. They were having problems with it. They finally went into a renovation in March, not March. It was in 2005. It reopened in March of 2005. This was after it flowed through a period of the 90s where we had Cynthia Harris, we had Paul Pressler, both presidents of Disneyland, really put aside maintenance on these attractions. So things were falling into such bad disrepair. It was very, very sad to watch it happen. And right before our eyes, we were watching this attraction fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the renovation, feathers were regularly falling out of the birds. The thatched roof of the building was breaking away. Movements were noisy and slow of the birds and things. And even the original show and storyline remained, but they had taken part of it out. It's still not the original show. The original show was over 17 minutes long. It's now closer to 12 minutes, 2.5.
It's kind of, they kind of not really gutted it, but they really, really updated it. They had to.
They did.
It was technology. It was not going to last forever.
They took it. Let me read what I have here. I said they did all the movements of the Audio-Animatronics. They completely gutted the birds and they rebuilt them using modern technology so that they looked the same, but they moved differently. They also had for the pre-show outside. Now, I was talking about this earlier today with people. There's a lanai for the waiting area of the Tiki Room. We want our backyard to look like the lanai.
I would love to have it, but I don't have the $20,000 to $30,000 to do that.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It's wonderful. Tapa cloth and the tikis that are there.
All talk.
Yeah, all the tikis talk. When they redid the attraction in 2005, they actually redid the lanai area as well, the waiting area. So the tikis were all rebuilt, painted, spruced up. Looks so much better now, and even the sound was improved. They also created like a drumming effect to draw attention to each of the tikis in the different area of the lanai.
Oh, that's my favorite area. I could just sit in there and watch the show, not go in, but just see, and just because I have this fantasy someday I would love to have that exact replica. I don't know who would do it, how it could be done, but I'm like, this I want exactly in my backyard.
And there's a question from Cherie, Surfer Girl 326. Was Rosita ever inside the Tiki Room? No, she was never in. And Jose asks, I wonder what happened to Rosita. She's actually now outside the Tiki Room at Disneyland in the Tropical Hideaway.
And if you look up on the edge of it, there's little holes. So they fly in and out. It gives you the illusion. It's this detail that I was eating these buns, hot crust buns. And your sister's calling me.
Oh.
We'll deal with her later. And I'm like, look, guys, there's like a pole, and it looks like a hole where the birds can fly in and out. So it looks like they can go in the room or fly out. It's just the detail was incredible. And
every single one of the little birdhouse holes on the side of the Tiki Room actually has the name of each of the birds.
Yeah. So I thought it was really, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. And on a side note, Doug and I have birds of paradise that are out in the backyard. We got that because we were inspired by Adventureland at Disneyland to do the landscaping of our yard that way. The birds are actually named Mimi, Gigi, Fifi, and Josephine. All the birds, Cosette and Colette. Yeah, Colette and Fabrette.
There's little signs on each one of the birds. I want to actually mimic that exact little dangly sign they have on each one and put it in front of all our birds of paradise.
Enchanted Rita says that she was talking with a friend at the Tropical Hideaway, and Rosita kept interrupting her.
It's incredible. It's how they do, and it's right there on the exit of the Jungle Cruise. Adventureland, I think, is one of my favorite one. You have the top three. You have an incredible tiki room. You have the Jungle Cruise, which is amazing, and you have Indiana Jones, and they're all right there in a tiny little area.
Yeah,
I love all those attractions.
It's true. Unfortunately, on this day, also in 1999, Tarzan's Treehouse opened.
Yeah.
We don't really like to talk too much about that because we really do miss the Swiss Family Treehouse.
I'm not a big. It wasn't necessary.
I like the movie.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think the overlay, the redo of the treehouse was needed.
Yeah.
They did it as something new to plus Disneyland because they just were not investing that much in attractions at that time.
There's a whole more Disney kind of stuff. Let's just refame things to it.
Yeah, Orlando guy says, don't get me started on Tarzan's Treehouse. And Enchanted Rita gave it a big thumbs down as well. It's very sad because even during the construction of that redo, like I said, they were cutting corners during construction and maintenance. They cut corners on Tarzan's Treehouse too. They did not fix the stairs from the treehouse when they needed to be redone.
Yeah.
And someone actually put their foot through one of the stairs after the attraction had opened. They had to shut down the attraction and get that fixed.
And then they have a big behemoth. So right when you're getting out of Adventureland and you're going to New Orleans Square, they had to put this monstrosity of a big tree to have like a bridge to go over, one of those little swinging wooden slatted bridges.
Yeah.
Not necessary, but it congested that area. It was so not important.
Yes, definitely a lawsuit. I'll tell you, if that had happened to me, I would have demanded at least a lifetime pass. That's what I would have said. Forego all the health issues, the problems with maybe a broken leg or something like that. I would say, just give me a lifetime pass and I'll shut up.
Lifetime pass. I would need something else too.
Oh, maybe some food too.
I would have to say an unlimited amount of food. Yeah, I would want that.
So anyway, 1967, a movie came out called The Happiest Millionaire. This is a movie that was originally 3 hours long for the director's cut. It was painfully long. I think that this is one of the worst films that Disney did during their time. Walt originally bought the play.
I never watched the movie.
They hired the Sherman Brothers to write the music for it. A song called Fortuosity came out of this movie. And you may have never think you've heard this song, but if you've walked down Main Street at Disneyland or at Magic Kingdom, you've heard at least an instrumental version of the song Fortuosity. Mm-hmm. So pay attention next time you're at Disneyland or at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom.
That's fine. No.
Yeah. On this day, 1989, the film Honey, I Shrunk the Audience came out. I like that movie.
I liked Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. It was the 80s. It was great ending of the 80s.
I also like the show that they did on Disney Plus that showed the props being
collected. The prop guy.
Yeah, prop culture.
Prop culture.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. The Disney short Tummy Trouble featuring Roger Rabbit came out with the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1989, the Magic Kingdom's attraction Dream Flight came out. Of course, that's just another change from If You Had Wings and the whole bit. That same space.
Any of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, see, Enchanted Rita, she loves prop culture too. Yeah, definitely. It is a great show. I highly recommend it. Rob Fuzz does the same thing.
The two that I pretty much lost was Mary Poppins and Nightmare Before Christmas. I was like, oh God. Now, the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
Now, Richard's here in the chat, so I don't know if he's going to feel the same way about this.
Probably not.
In 1995, on this day, Disney released Pocahontas in the theater.
Okay. It's a good movie. I like it. It's not way up on the list. I mean, I'm entertained.
Tony, thank you for joining.
I can't say anything ill about it.
It's okay. It's not, I think, what they were expecting. They were expecting this to be a fantastic film.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there it is, Richard. Pocahontas is awful. And they also coupled it on this day. They also released a show at Disneyland in the area that used to be called Videopolis. They renamed it on this day to the Fantasyland Theater. and started showing the spirit of Pocahontas.
Leaves, color of the wind,
Colors
blah,
of
blah,
colors of the
blah.
wind. Yeah, you had this. You know that the Disney's always big about streamers and confetti and everything. At the end of this show, they took cannons and they blew paper leaves all over the place. So after every performance, they'd have to clean up the whole
So
theater.
environmentally messy.
The spirit of mediocrity. Yes, it was, Richard. Unfortunately, it was there. But I'm thankful that they did put that there, and that that they did not remove the Lion King celebration from the parade, because that was still running from 1994. And then the following year, they could have done it, but they didn't. They kept Pocahontas going, and in 1996, they opened the Festival of Fools.
Yeah.
Which was a far superior show. Very good. We talked about that earlier.
And then in 1999, we were just talking about that the Tarzan Treehouse opened. They evicted the Swiss family of Swiss, and they made it Tarzan.
And now we have a little bit of show and tell.
Oh, this goes back to 2004.
2004, we have show and tell.
Let's get on.
There was a set of 4 stamps that the post office released.
The light has to go off.
Oh, the light has to go off, according to Doug. Let me
because it's too reflective.
I'll turn off the light. Yeah, it's true. I'll turn off the light. So there we go.
I need to find my.
Now, this set of stamps, they were each 37-cent stamps, and they represented, they came from Disney characters, and they were actually, the stamp was released at Disneyland on this day in 2004.
I have all the stamps on it, and they're all stamped with Disneyland. But they also made, because it's the early aught decade, and Disney cannot help themselves, they need to make pins. So there was an event that was the release of these stamps.
And Doug bought the pin set.
So
framed.
The first day
of issue, Disneyland Resort, June 23rd, 2004. So 16 years ago, they were released. All you need is glove. Hashtag Doug's gloves.
First day release, so it was 16 years ago today. I was there because obviously I got this.
It was all about friendship.
Yeah, well, friendship, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, but they're cute. I mean, then they did it for the other year. They did it in 2003 and 4.
Yeah, and Chanarita says, "Oh my God, that Bambi Thumper one, it's adorable."
They had so much swag that had this artwork on it, and it's here.
Yes, and Peter Emmerich was the Disney artist that did that. And Richard says, I could have bought an artist proof piece from the Disneyland shop back in the day. Oh, you should have gotten it at Disneyana.
Come on.
Oh, that's too bad.
I must have probably ran into you.
She's a thumper collector. Rita, we'll have to remember that.
I could have bought the proofs. Well,
and yes, it did come framed.
It did. It was there, and I bought it at Disneyana. So
yeah,
it's probably when Richard was there.
Probably so.
I probably didn't even know who Richard was when I probably bought it, because he was probably in the store in the time I got it.
And then finally on this day in 2005, 15 years ago, they had an official dedication ceremony for the Ward Kimball. Now, what is that? Ward Kimball is engine number 5 of the Disneyland Railroad. And it finally happened. They dedicated it, and it was going to be part of the regular rotation of trains.
And they did not make a big thing where guests can do it. They filmed it, and it was a early morning ceremony, quiet brouhaha, because it was during the 50th anniversary. So they couldn't have special events. Now, if they had a special event, I would have been there.
Yeah.
But they just opened and started the 50th anniversary on May 5th, 2005.
Yeah. One of the things that we really loved about the 50th anniversary also, that I had not mentioned before this, but if you went to the resort, they had 2 things going. One, they had photo mosaics everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you could look everywhere, and they had actually asked Disneyland guests to send any photo they had in their collection from any visit that they had at Disneyland over the past 50 years. And they put together photo mosaics of people's photos. Beautifully done. I loved it.
It was actually a cool gimmick. I actually liked it. They said you go on the website, after you submit it, and they say, well, it could have been over here and it could be in this mural. They didn't tell you where in the mural, but your photo was used.
Yeah, but they did put one up. It was an area that you couldn't see close up at all. It was from a distance, so they put a lot of thousands of photos in that particular photo mosaic.
And they're like,
the photos were just tiny.
And it gave the illusion, and it was actually a very cool thing. I mean, again, they did an amazing, huge thing.
And the other thing that I really loved about the 50th anniversary were the 50 hidden Mickeys all over the resort. They took the logo, the mouse head with the 50 in it, and they put it all over the park, everywhere. There was a giant one on the facade of It's a Small World. They had one built out of rock that was on the side of Splash Mountain. They had one on a tiki pole that was outside the tiki room.
And then they took each one of the attractions that were there on opening day, and then they took them off to the side and put gold all over them. So you could take a picture inside of it. And it was brilliant. So they did the one of Autopia. So one of the Autopia attractions, they made a whole scene. So you're in a gold Autopia,
the gold teacup. Mr. Toad?
Mr. Toad car. He was all in gold.
They had a Peter Pan pirate ship
ship that was out.
So they did that.
It
was so cool. They had photo ops for you for the 50th anniversary. I tell you, 15 years ago, it was amazing. I loved the Disneyland
I wanted
resort.
my past life so bad. There's times lately I want to go back into my old life.
I know. It's so true. Oh my goodness. Well, that is all we have for today. I'm glad we had show and tell for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to take some time and really talk about the Enchanted Tiki Room. I mean, come on. It's all about Enchanted Rita, too.
Yeah, Enchanted Rita.
Well, it's her name.
I mean, we had a smoothie. I put pineapple on it. I've been finding some tiki stuff. And since a lot of restaurants are still not open, we have, what is that restaurant in Emeryville?
Trader Vic's.
Trader Vic's. So not open, but I would have gone there today.
Thank you, Rob.
To celebrate the Disneyland anniversary of the Tiki Room.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. I'm going to have a tiki cocktail. Well, we think we are.
I'm going to make a cocktail tonight and dedicated to the Tiki Room. It might be the Tropical Serenade because we've already created one called the Tropical Serenade.
It is very good.
It's a good one. But who knows? Maybe I'll do something else. I'll come up with something.
I need a tiki drink after all of this.
Yeah, so we'll be drinking tonight. Maybe I'll post, you know what? I'll post a picture on Instagram later tonight of our tiki drink. So if you have not yet followed us on social media, we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Pepper Tree Villa. Please check us out there, and that would be wonderful. Oh.
But yeah, Cynthia, we're not responsible for anybody else's bad behavior because we have to deal with ours. So, should we apologize for, you spending money? We all have to take responsibility.
Yeah, we can only be an inspiration. We don't take the responsibility.
Yeah, I don't take responsibility for it.
We have some wonderful moderators here today. Thank you for your help, everyone. And then tonight, also, two of our support tree. You've seen our support tree. You've seen Rob Fuzz here. You've seen the Orlando guy. You've seen Two Real Geeks. You've seen More Sunshine, Please. We haven't seen D&G Explorers today, but they're also part of our support tree. Those 5 channels represent our circle support, our support tree. So we thank them for everything they do tonight on Two Real Geeks. They're doing it's called it's a randomness show. Anything that's going on in the chat, they take it, they run with it, and they discuss it. It's like thoughts of randomness or something like that.
I got to stop.
So go check it out.
I'm turning red.
And then Jim of More Sunshine, Please. He's coming up with his show featuring usually a top 15 list that he does. He also does his regular chat check. Go ahead and check him out. He is going to be at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on More Sunshine, Please. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun. I tell you, when it comes to history and facts and figures, I love doing a deep dive, and I may actually do a video about the Enchanted Tiki Room because there's so much to talk about.
So much.
So, Rita, thank you so much. Yeah, we were going to have
a whole tiki themed dish, a menu from like an order of an appetizer, a main dish, some cocktails. I want to do a whole.
For dessert, we can do the pineapple upside down cake with Dole Whip.
which there's a video out on that. I just, since we can't have, well, people don't want to hang out with other people, I want to do a dinner party. We all have to wear tiki clothes, and I want to do that so bad.
We'll do that. We will definitely do that.
So I guess we have to just do it ourselves.
And we better get ready. Rita's coming over.
Just a hyper-themed dinner party.
We just love that so much. Let's have a PTV invasion of Jim's channel. Definitely. When you go there, tell them PTV sent you. Tell Jim PTV sent you. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Daily Dose of Disney. It's only 6 days left for our daily show. So let's make it some fun this week. And we'll go into some deep dives of some more information as well. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Daily Dose. We will be back tomorrow at the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for the Daily Dose of Disney. I'm Arnie.
I'm Doug.
You've been watching Pepper Tree Villa's PTV3D. Everyone, have a magical evening and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.